outsider. She was important to him, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was.
You could ask the man himself.
Oh, no. But watching this exchange reminds me how much I've yet to learn about your world. And its people.
You can live here your entire life and hardly learn a thing. And that's why it's too soon for this to end.
Yeah. I like that. I loved it. Oh, Devel, be assured that I am fine. I am. We're glad to see them too, after so very long. Gladder still that it was in your company. As difficult as it was to accept their kindness, 'twould have been far harder had I faced them alone. Yay, new boots. Wrong button. Huh. Do I even have to dye these? Oh wait, yeah, I will. Just the boots. There we go. Ooh, I get hands for this one. Thou hast my gratitude for lending courage to the Loperettes. Not disposed to rest on their laurels, several of our guests have elected to accompany my countrymen to their stations. Some few may still come hither seeking counsel, and so shall I remain to aid them as need be. If thou art needed elsewhere, do not let me detain thee. As a matter of fact, I was hoping you might check on Alice. Last I saw, she was struggling to carry an enormous pile of boxes out the west gate. I could go myself, but we both know whose help she's less like to scorn. Not to mention that, much to my misfortune, I can think of several other things I ought to be doing. Until later. Of course, Alice would refuse help. Devel, what are you doing here? No, I don't mind if you help with the boxes, but it's far from the most exciting of tasks. Are you sure? Yeah, I want to help. Well, I appreciate the assistance. We need to get these to Aporia. Time is short, of course, but they're full of organic specimens and samples, so try not to be too rough with them. Alphino should be waiting for us when we arrive. I'll see you there. Deliver the Krant samples to Alphino. You have 3 minutes to complete the task. Okay. Gotta not be attacked by anything. So far away. Is it just the one box I'm bringing over here? Oh, you're helping with the crates. Wonderful. You could put that there with the others. Okay, it's just the one. You have my gratitude, but how did you come to be involved in this? Thancred sent me over to help. Then I suppose I have Thancred to thank as well. If you're wondering why we were tasked with bringing these boxes to Aporia to begin with, so was I. It turns out that this is a base of operations of sorts. Those with final say as to what is included in the ship's manifest can be found here. Father included, I suspect. That should be everything. You carried all of that at once? Are you trying to injure yourself? Oh hush, they're lighter than they look. Well, not everyone has your delicate arms. I suppose we should let someone know that we finished. Tio Paladin is in the courtyard. We can report to him. Why don't you come along? You should get credit for your assistance, at least. Considering where we are, we might even learn something interesting. I'm gonna get this etherite first. Gods, it never ends, does it? What can I do for you? We've brought samples from Charlotte and Hamlet. Series 110? The crates are by the entrance. Oh, thank you. I had expected one of my colleagues, but we are dreadfully short-handed. Just a moment. You are Fortuno's children, are you not? Alphanode and Alice at your service. You're well acquainted with Father, I take it. Quite. I've been friends with your parents since our days at Studium. I remember when you were yay high, waddling hither and hither. Clearly, it's been quite some time since we've met. It's good to see you again, wielding your father's nowless. You knew our parents when they were young? What were they like? Pray spare no detail. I should like nothing more than to regale you. Alas, I am meant to be in charge here, and reams of paperwork want for submission. We can help with that, in exchange for the sort of stories our parents would never willingly divulge, of course. Very well then. There happens to be 3 sets of documents in need of delivery. So how about you each take one? Wait right there. We'll find a forum representative waiting to collect these near the southernmost structure. I hope I haven't kept her waiting too long. Never mind, Alphino and Alice. I'm certain they will be back soon enough. Deliver the ream of documents to the reserved representative. I have to find them first. There they are. Are you not one of the Signs of Seventh Dawn? I thought you were meant to be working on the ether burner. We have that kind of sorted out already. Theopoldin's paperwork? I was beginning to worry he had misplaced his quill. I appreciate your help in seeing these documents to my hands at least. As for your other tasks, pray keep this between us, but I sincerely hope you succeed. The Exodus is, without a doubt, the most monumental undertaking in the history of the Forum, and so we must be circumspect in all respects. Risk is a privilege we cannot afford ourselves. At its heart, however, Charlian has never been a nation of the curious. It would be a tragedy indeed if we were the ones to stymie our pursuit of truth. Quick and efficient, I dare say. You have a talent for this work. The twins' papers only needed be delivered to elsewhere in the facility, so they should be returning any moment. We return with not a scrap of paperwork remaining on our persons. You will note. You both have my thanks and my apologies for sending you on an errand far below your ambitions. Why, even as a babe, you struggled out of your swaddling clothes, and there's quite enough of that. Thank you. It was compromising stories of our parents that we'd asked to hear. To reiterate. Of course. I've known your father for so long. I must have something. Well, as you know, part of why the Levier name garners such respect in Charlian is your family's sordid history. You two can trace your ancestry directly to those who came aboard Unkremp's Hope, a lineage few can claim. I've never thought much of it myself. It's not as though our forebears founded our nation. It was simply there when it happened. Nevertheless, it has traditionally been a point of pride. This 'tis why Noonkemp's pronouncement renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason has ever been our family's creed. Until your grandfather's time, Archon Louisoix looked not to Noonkemp's words, but his deeds. He asserted in defiance of his peers that choosing to save out the great and the small from the rising tides is a true mark of our founder's virtue. Perhaps it was his expertise, his knowledge of ancient prophecy and the fall of civilizations, that led him to conclude that to eschew conflict at every turn was to consign mankind to his doom. There will ever be conflict, and calamity will follow thus. To ignore the plight of those who one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. You remember his words well indeed. Archon Louisoix lived by that personal creed, and used every means at his disposal to bring succor to those in need, Charlian or no. No one loved and admired your grandfather more than his son. Yet Fortuno could not reconcile Louisoix's deeds with the philosophy of their forebears and his peers. A philosophy in which he believed so fervently, yet made a pariah of his father. Fortuno's agonized over this contradiction for much of his life. God's father. A son may carry his father's blood, but his choices are his own to bear. Is it not always thus? Gods know Fortuno's a cranky old goat, so I'm sure you butt heads often enough. Yet even so, you must know that you were constantly in his thoughts, every moment of every day, and that is not an exaggeration in the slightest. You should have seen him when you were born. Barely recognizable he was, with a kind of dumbfounded grin I'd not seen since he first took a fancy to your mother. He was particularly skipping when he told me the news. Take my word for it, he loves you to an embarrassing degree. Why did he have to disown them? Was he just trying to get them to distance themselves? But he's also frustratingly single-minded. Once he's decided that a given action is for the best, he will stay the course no matter who or what opposes him. A profoundly annoying habit when you're on the other end of it, as I'm sure you will agree. I'll say, Thank you for your insight. When next we meet our parents, I shall mention that we spoke. Try not to get me into too much trouble now. I need the forum on my side. Speaking of which, I ought to be getting back to work. I have to make sure those specimens you brought back make it back in their proper places, or the cranky old goat will have my hide. We can speak again later. Hail, you three. Oh, Graha. Graha, surely Coco hasn't driven you out of the forge already. For better or for worse, no. However, he has set me the task that requires more than my single pair of hands, and here you are. I could use at least one of you, but I won't object to more. Unfortunately, Alice and I have prior commitments, and we have delayed too long as it is. What about you, Devel? Can you spare the time? Of course. Perfect. This shouldn't take long. What am I needing to be? What needs to be done? I'll accept these. But of course I want a diet. Once forged. In the event that our, and I quote, promised heap of adamantite falls right out of the bloody sky and into my lap, Master Coco wishes to be ready to put the proverbial hammer to anvil at a moment's notice. Fabricate these parts, however, he needs the flames in Coco's forge to burn hotter. He sent me to increase the amount of ether being funneled to his furnaces. The flow of fire aspect of ether in Labyrinthos is regulated by an elemental reactor south of here, to which I have borrowed the key. The adjustment will require 2 people to carry out safely, but I can explain the process when we arrive. This is where we part then. We'll see you in Charlie and Hamlet once the adamantite arrives, if not before. This way then. Those are sage weapons? They're pretty interesting looking. They look like guns. Must be getting close to the point where I'm going to go into this center. The reactor is housed within this facility. I'll be the one to go out inside and adjust the fire ether output. When I do, a rather large amount of water aspected ether will issue from the vent at the top. I expect this to extract at least a few elementals, which we would rather not be drawn into the reactor itself. Trust me. Can I ask that you put down any that draw too near? They'll pose you little trouble, I'm sure. Sure? Wait here if you would. Survey the designated location. Oh, wrong button. Damn this audio problem. Did I get all the enemies? Did everything go smoothly out here? I thought as much. No major complications to speak of inside either. And the water ether appears to be venting properly. I expect Coco will have seen a difference in his forge flames by the time I return. Since I have you, there was another matter I thought to discuss with you. Nothing terribly important, merely something I've been considering. Part of this, I shared with everyone, yet you and only you have been to Elpis. As we have established, refined adamantite is a product of Alag, of the Empire's twilight years in fact. It was a material which saw much use as part of the Allagan's efforts to extend beyond the bounds of this world. Dalamud, of course, being the most prominent. Of those who would push further, expand Alag's empire to encompass the heavens and the stars above, perhaps the greatest was its infamous technologist Amon Van Daniel. Did he remember his life as Hermes? I mean, he did say it himself, the constellation stone thing gave him his memories of his former ancient self. I believe he had his own reasons. There was no evidence to suggest that he retained memories of his former life. Oh yeah, this was when before he got those memories. He only joined the Astians once the Empire was all but dust, as you know. If not his memory, though, what drove him to pursue that idea with such fervor? This may seem far-fetched, but what if souls, like minds, have a personality, so to speak? A natural disposition towards which they are inclined. We know with relative certainty that it was the gross decadence and inexorable decline of Alag that moved Amon to resurrect Emperor Zonde. The Empire's people spoke lightly of death and destruction, experimenting on those they deemed beneath them to fill the emptiness in their hearts. In facilitating Zonde's return, Amon provided these languid souls with the means to free themselves from the mire of their own indolence. Or would have, had not Zonde been convinced by his own death that life itself was meaningless. Amon's desire for his countrymen to conquer the heavens could only be a means to the same end, to instill the people with new purpose. Like Hermes before him, Amon was appalled by how those around him lived, but could never bring himself to believe that those lived were devoid of meaning. And both of them sought that meaning, that hope in the distant stars. That hope in the distant stars. Similar to Midgard? Such is my theory, anyway. Ultimately, it is the consequence of their actions which matter. The motives are of no hope, and yet... To reach those stars on wings of adamantite, to travel to the ends of creation and beyond, the promise of hope everlasting, that much I do understand. But enough musing for now. Why don't we go see how Coco is getting on? And it's... Can I just... Do I have to go all the way around? I think I don't have to. But I'm getting this ether current first. I hope I don't have to walk all the way back around. I assume I can just get there through here. Logisticon Gamma. I assume that brings us down there. What level quest am I on? 88? Ooh, I can feel those flames ablazing from here. Glad you found someone capable. Capable Graha, but there's not much left for you lot to do. Unless you can conjure up that refined adamantine any faster. Bonds of adamant. Right. Oh, this is where I get an ether current. I do trust you to deliver on your promise. I do. Only. I hate waiting. I want that adamantite. I want it now. We share your impatience, I assure you. Is there truly nothing else we can assist with in the meantime? I wish. This sitting about's unbearable. I pity the form frowns. I pity the form frowns on recreational explosions. Well, so long as they can't prove it was premeditated, get you gone. I've mistakes to make. In that case, I suppose I should go and return the key to the reactor. I'll have one more look to make sure that nothing has gone wrong, unintentionally or otherwise. I'm certain there are better uses for your time. However, I will join you in Charlie and Hamlet Anon. Okay, back up here. If you wait here, your companions are bound to turn up sooner or later. That's an odd warning. Oh. I need to change that. I need to fix this.
All set, I take it?
Yes, it's all set.
We finished what we could.
I'll do it
Delivered
after.
supplies, tracked down escaped animals, trivial tasks as they may be.
That's enough, don't you think? If there was anything more important still undone, that would be a problem in itself.
The vessel is essentially ready for departure. All that remains is to load the final batch of supplies and see everyone on board. Once we've readied the ether burner.
Things are going to go wrong.
Ah, had a feeling we might find you all here.
Our consultations with the Loperites, too, have run their course. Pleased I am to say that our researchers' concerns have, for the most part, been allayed, though some insist on